G'day there guys, Marky here, and welcome back to another episode of r/relationship advice. With that said, let's get right into it. I found out my boyfriend has a secret tattoo of my friend's name. My boyfriend Tom, 29 male, and I, 29 female, have been together for 3 years. Tom was military and went through a pretty nasty divorce 3 years before we met. Through it, he relied heavily on a close friend Jessica to get through it, who was also going through a divorce. Tom and Jess are very close. Tom has admitted that he had strong feelings for Jess, but things just never worked out, and his friends have said in the past that Jess was clearly into him. Jess and Tom talk regularly, hang out regularly, anything friends would do. I have never really had an issue with their relationship. While at first I was cautious because of this history and his admitting to having feelings, they are very respectful. Jess is delightful, kind, funny, and is just great to be around. She's also an absolute stunner. I'm not frumpy by any means, and I get plenty of attention, but around Jess, anyone would feel inferior. I enjoy being around Jess, and she and I occasionally hang out with Tom. Regardless of their history, Tom and Jess are just friends, and I have no reason to think that they are more. But last night, Tom had just finished a volleyball tournament and had gotten out of the showers. It was sand volleyball, and his feet were pretty torn up, so he was cleaning them, and I saw the bottom of his foot. I have no idea how I've never seen this, but he has Jessica's name tattooed on the bottom of his foot like he's frickin' Woody from Toy Story or something. I don't know why this bothered me, but immediately all the blood left my face. I just stood there, my mouth agape. Tom noticed and asked what was wrong, and I asked him how long he had that tattoo. He laughed, clearly not reading my reaction, and asked how I'd never noticed it, and explained that when he was single and out one night with Jess and a bunch of friends, he was pretty drunk and he got it as a joke. Now this is where I probably made a mistake. I should have left it at that, but I didn't buy it, so I pressed a little. I think he could tell that I was a bit caught up about it because he was a bit sheepish, but he folded pretty quickly. Apparently he was drunk and in his feelings, and this was in the height of his interest in Jess. He explained that she said something about being jealous because he was dancing with another girl, and he said that he'd always be hers, to which she laughed, and he, in his drunken state, said, "For real, I'd tattoo your name on my foot if I had to," and she said, "God damn, that would be hot." And they ditched their friends and went to the shop, and he did it that night. He explained that he was a bit embarrassed by it at first, because when they sobered up, it felt a bit thirsty, which, oh my god, it is. But since then, him and Jess find it a funny joke from a tumultuous time in their lives. God, I shouldn't have asked for more details, and he should not have shared as much as he did, but here we are. I was legitimately too stunned to talk. He clearly felt bad. We went to bed without talking much more. I woke up to flowers on the bed this morning, as he leaves very early to work out, which was sweet, but I'm still a bit in my head about this. We're supposed to go to a concert with Jess and her boyfriend tomorrow, but I cannot stop thinking about that tattoo. I guess when he said that they were into each other, I did not realize they were that into each other. I don't really know what to think. I went from not feeling even remotely concerned about Jess to feeling like I would be competing with her forever. Tom has a bunch of tattoos, and the vast majority of them are just impulse tattoos with no meaning. Whenever people ask about the tattoos, he's just like, F it, just get whatever. Life is short, blah blah blah. But it's so hard for me to shed the meaning behind this one, even if it is a joke. I honestly don't know what to think. I could really use some advice on how to process this. Am I gonna have to break up with him? Now in the comments, have they ever been intimate? Why aren't they together? And OP says, he's told me in the past they have not, and I've had no reason to think that they have been and that he was lying. Tom and I have a strong, honest relationship. I think if they had, he would have communicated that to me, and we would have navigated it at that time. His friends were really supportive of my presence when we first started dating, and when I talked to them about my initial concerns about Jess, they reassured me they never saw anything happen, and didn't think Jess and Tom would be good together. Which, now that I know them both much better, I agree. They make wonderful, wonderful friends, but I do not think that they would be good in a relationship together. They are both type A's. They enjoy the spotlight, pressing people's buttons, can be argumentative and stubborn. The dynamic works platonically, but I think they would hate each other if they dated, and my intuition is they covertly know the same thing, which is why it never panned out. I'm not going to tell you to break up with him or not, but I feel that most people would feel very uncomfortable in your situation as well. He and Jess were, and are, still very close, have admitted strong feelings for each other, have a deep emotional connection, and he has her name tattooed on him. I think it's just simply human to feel how you're feeling right now. Did he say why he lied about the circumstances in which he got the tattoo? Because that definitely was weird and is a little bit concerning. Personally, I'd find it hard to keep from wondering if there is still feelings on his side, or what would happen if Jess admitted feelings, etc. I don't know. This is a tough one. I'd imagine you're going to have people telling you both sides of the coin, but at the end of the day, it is your choice how to move forward. Good luck, OP. And OP replies, he didn't really lie. He trickle-truthed, which, now knowing the whole story, I get why he did. I think I would have preferred only knowing that it was a drunk tattoo and that he was embarrassed by it. Ugh, I feel very stupid for pressing it, but we're here now, I guess. Honestly, I think it might be a funny joke between him and Jess now, but by his tone, I got the sense that he's still a little embarrassed by it. A lot of the stories that he tells me from that time in his life, he tries to be a good spirit about, but I usually get the sense that he's embarrassed by how out of control he was. I'd be asking, if Jess confessed her love to him tomorrow, what would he do with that information? Has he simply squashed his feelings for her down, or has he actually moved on from that? That tattoo is a symbol to him that he belongs to her. Does he still feel that way? And now, on to the update. So my original post didn't get a ton of attention, but I figured I would post an update anyways, since good updates are always nice to see. Short version, boyfriend of 3 years has best friend that he has some quasi-romantic history with. I discovered a tattoo of her name on his foot and had some weird feelings about it. The night that I made the post, I was actually at my mother's house, as I have dinner with her once a week. There was a really bad storm, and I got rained in and stayed there for the night, which was bad timing. The next day, Tom and I were supposed to go to a concert with Jess and her boyfriend. Now, a few things that came up in the last post. First, I trust Tom, and he has said in the past that nothing happened between him and Jess. The tattoo doesn't make me doubt that. My sense from the conversations with Tom and with friends in the past is that Tom and Jess were mutually into each other, but it just never panned out. Tom has never gave me any indication that he would leave me for Jess if the opportunity came, and I spent some time thinking about it and stand by that. Second, I don't think Tom was actively hiding the tattoo from me. He seemed surprised that I hadn't noticed it before, and I don't know how I haven't. But nothing gave me indication that it was a secret that I was never meant to see. Anyways, Friday morning, I got home and Tom and I talked before work. I explained to him how I was feeling, that the tattoo just surprised me, and it made me have feelings that I wasn't really understanding. He was super apologetic that he had never brought it up explicitly, and he made it clear he really thought that I had noticed before, and I just didn't care. He said he felt silly for assuming that, and that he will communicate better. I had every intent of telling him that I'd like to have it removed, but before I could say anything, he told me he'd spent all night looking at different places to do tattoo removal, and that he could tell that it upset me, and that he was planning on getting it taken off. He was showing me a place on his phone, and said they'd done some really good removals that he felt good about. Some people had suggested that in the first place, and I had done a little bit of reading about tattoo removal, and everything said it would be worse than the tattoo itself. So I asked him if it would hurt, and he goes, yeah, probably a lot. The tattoo was crap to be honest, but if it'll make you feel better, then it's worth it. He always says the right things. We talked about it a little, and it would be multiple sessions and a couple $1,000s. But the last thing that I want is for him to go through the pain because I'm being silly. So I told him that he didn't need to do that, and he better take me on a nice date for the money that he saved. Joking, of course, to make it up to me. We had a nice breakfast together, and off to work we went. As a little extra, at the concert, Jess and I scooted off to the bathroom together and to grab more drinks, and she and I were talking, and she apologized to me for the tattoo. She reaffirmed that she is very happy with her boyfriend, and that her and Tom is long in the past, and that she loves him, but they are much better off as friends. She was a little boozy, so she got into how much she loves me and Tom together, and how happy she sees that I make him. Honestly, it was really sweet, and it helped. I didn't really press, but I imagine Thursday night Tom talked it through with her to try and figure out what to do. I think some people might try and make it nefarious, but I really appreciated that she took the time to reassure me and make me feel better about it. All in all, I think Tom will probably still get the tattoo removed without telling me about it, but I'm not really worried about it. He makes me feel so important and loved, and I don't want something this minor to get in the way of it for me. I've done more regrettable and silly things when I was in a bad place, and I'm just lucky enough that it's not branded on me forever. So I'm doing my best not to hold it against him. Now in the comments, how do you even sit still for a foot tattoo? I'm so ticklish, and I think that it would be legit torture to have someone tattoo the bottom of my foot. I guess she really was his soulmate. Hopefully OP will heal from this surprise. Tom out here restoring faith in humanity that men can in fact use their brain, process their emotions, and empathize with others and come up with solutions without being spoon-fed them, Lamau. Too used to seeing the opposite on this subreddit. I'm happy to see that y'all were able to effectively communicate and work past things. Our next post is titled, "Am I the asshole for refusing to support my son's pregnant girlfriend until she takes a paternity test? My son, 24 male, and his girlfriend, 24 female, have only been together for 6 months, and she's apparently 4 months pregnant with his baby. They have actually been friends since high school, and so my husband and I have known her for a few years as well. She's a lovely girl, but honestly, she's not someone that I'd hoped would be the mother to my first grandchild. First of all, she's a recovering drug addict and alcoholic, and while she says that she's been clean for 3 years, a relapse is always possible. She's only finished high school with her GED, and now she works as a waitress full-time. Her parents died years ago, so she's largely on her own. Our family is considerably better off, and my son is joining his father's business, meaning his salary will be quite high and will only continue to grow. Since my son first told us that she is pregnant, it can't escape my mind that he may not really be the father, and that she picked him out of potential others because he would be the best in terms of support. My son is pushing us to help her with some of her pregnancy expenses, and I told him that we would, under the condition that she get a paternity test first. He completely blew up at that, accusing us of disliking her, which is untrue, and not wanting to be grandparents, also untrue. He says he loves her and trusts her, and that he can't wait to meet his baby. I get that, but I think he's being idealistic. If he wants our support, we want a paternity test first. If the baby is truly his, then we would be happy to welcome her into our family, and we would be happy to help her out. Am I the asshole? And now in the comments, quote, "He completely blew up at that, accusing us of disliking her, untrue." Reread the first part of your post. Even to internet strangers, it's pretty obvious that you don't like this woman. Right off the bat, you aren't being truthful. You're the asshole. Agreed, you're the asshole. OP, your son loves her and wants to be with her and believes that this is his child. If you have the money available, and would have helped if it was someone that you approved, then support your son and his soon-to-be family. No one is saying throw millions at it, go into debt, or write them into the will. Edit to add, something I just commented below, would OP want a paternity test if the situation was different, if the girl hadn't been a drug addict? Exactly. If the girl was poly purebred with a perfect pedigree, would OP have asked for a paternity test before helping? Not to mention, asking for a paternity test now is questioning the integrity of the people involved, son and girlfriend. and in no world does that not make OP an asshole to them. There are too many other variables going on. They've known each other since high school, who knows what kind of relationship they've had or how much Sun tells OP. It's irrelevant if they've been friends with benefits, or started a relationship, or have been friends for years and then started a relationship, or had a one-night stand turn into something more. They're already past the first trimester. They're in a relationship, they are having a baby. Sun asking mum to help out with a few expenses, not the asshole. Mum declining to help because she doesn't feel comfortable doing so, not the asshole. Mum/OP putting the stipulation of a paternity test before helping, asshole. And someone asks, why does a 24-year-old who's going to be working for his daddy's company need his mum's money to pay for his child? This reply should be way higher. It's all I could think of reading the post. I don't think the OP is an asshole for not wanting to support their adult son's child. That wasn't the question though. OP is definitely a spoiled, classist asshole. They're accusing the girlfriend of cheating because she didn't grow up with rich parents. And, gasp, she had a drug problem 3 years ago, likely when she was dealing with the death of her parents. Like seriously. It sounds like she went through something unbearable and she took drugs to cope and then came out the other side, got clean, got her GED, and is working hard to support herself, all while not having her parents there for her. Having lost my dad at the beginning of this year, that kind of loss can seriously destroy you, and I definitely can see why that sort of pain would lead to drug abuse. I don't think I've ever disagreed with the top-rated Am I the Asshole judgment more. It's clear that OP has doubts about this girl's parenting ability, which is absolutely fair because she has a difficult history and she got pregnant less than a year after dating OP's son. Rather than saying, well, there's no way in hell we're going to get behind this one, OP is giving their son a chance to bring them on board by showing some definitive proof that their relationship is in good faith. A lot of young people tend to believe their partners to a fault. We're in love, declares the young man with a partner of 6 months. OP is old enough to have a son in his 20s. They've probably seen some crap. Being willing to support a child only when they're with a partner that you feel you can trust doesn't make you an asshole. Good parents don't subsidize bad decisions for fully grown offspring. And now on to the update. So, after my original Reddit post, I talked to my son and I asked him what kind of financial help that he had in mind. According to him, since she doesn't have insurance, many of her medical costs were adding up and he wanted to help her with those. A lot of people asked me why my adult son was reliant on us, but to us, that's not unusual. He's a recent graduate, and while he will be making a decent salary soon, he's just entered the workforce and does not have much in the way of savings. Plus, our family has always believed in helping each other out. If my daughter was pregnant, we would no doubt help her. I expressed my desire for the paternity test for his benefit, but he would not budge on that. I tried to warn him of the countless stories of fathers duped into parenting children that weren't his, but he was certain. A couple of weeks later, his girlfriend actually reached out to me herself. We met up, and she told me that she was embarrassed he had asked for financial help on her behalf, as she did not want to take any assistance. This surprised me, as I assumed that she was the one pushing for the money. She was uncomfortable with the paternity test idea, but said that she would look into it if it bridged the peace between me and my son. With COVID, the paternity test never ended up happening. It just wasn't a priority. Over the past few months, I've been talking with them more and more, and my husband and I bought them a substantial gift for their new home as a gesture of apology and of goodwill. We did offer financial help, but my son refused it. By the time the baby was born, I had gotten to know his girlfriend better and was warming up to her joining our family. She truly is a delightful young woman, more so than I gave her credit for. The baby was born 7 weeks ago. It's a boy, and my son is absolutely thrilled. I have not gotten to meet him yet, but I have gotten to see him over video chat and in photos. He looks like my son. It's not an exact resemblance, but I can see my son in this little boy's face, enough that paternity doubts are firmly in the back of my mind. Truthfully, I have fallen in love with this little boy, and watching my son grow into becoming a father has been the proudest thing in my life. If I had missed this, I would have never forgiven myself. And now in the comments, I'm so glad you've been able to look past your misgivings and give your son's girlfriend the chance that she deserves. I hope your mind stays open and that love finds you and yours in all of its forms. Same. I feel like often a lot of Am I the Assholes end up just having mother-in-laws and daughter-in-laws getting off on the wrong foot and just going downhill. This is proof that sometimes, if one side just offers an olive branch and the other stays open-minded, everything works out. Wow. Her agreeing to the paternity test should have erased all doubts in your mind, unless she's capable of playing some 3D chess-worthy mental gymnastics knowing that you wouldn't push it if she said that. But it seems like you were trying to torpedo your son's relationship with a good woman. I don't have an issue with what you did though. Your first job is to protect your family's legacy. Ironically, it sounds like the son only asked the parents for money because they had spoiled him somewhat, so completely panicked at having to budget and downsize to prepare for the baby. Whereas all the things OP was looking down on his girlfriend for, her full-time job as a waitress, becoming sober, were the things that gave her skills to take this in her stride. I'm glad that everyone talked it out instead of burning bridges, and OP realized that they were wrong about the girl's character and gave an apology gift. I'm wondering how the monetary issue got resolved though. It sounds like the son never accepts financial help yet had claimed to need it then, even against her wishes. They might have taken on some debt, or maybe just scrimped a bit. If the son is from a well-off family, he could just be used to being able to buy things without ever thinking about it. Like, go to the grocery store, grab whatever he needs and wants, buy it, and then leave. If bills were piling up and he's never budgeted before, his first instinct might be to go to his parents. They probably supported him through college, he's maybe familiar with doing that. And once they put conditions on the money that he didn't want to meet, he turns to other options. Since his girlfriend never wanted to ask to begin with, she's probably more familiar with budgeting, planning meals and grocery expenses carefully, managing utilities, etc. Those changes, plus a credit card or two, might have carried them up to and through the son starting working. And that's where I'm going to finish today's episode, guys. I do hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.